That waiting created distance between Diamond and everyone around him. Distance turns into doubt. Doubt turns into fear. And fear turns people against you. Diamond didn't realize how isolated he had become until it was too late. The people around him stopped seeing him as a leader and started seeing him as an obstacle. His silence gave others room to speak for him, to twist his intentions, to question his loyalty. And Diamond, still believing in patience, let it happen. He carried guilt quietly. Guilt for the past. Guilt for being gone. Guilt for not fixing things fast enough. He believed that if he stayed calm and consistent, everything would eventually fall into place. But consistency doesn't protect you when the ground is shifting. Diamond underestimated how fast people lose faith when results don't come immediately. He thought respect could be rebuilt slowly. The streets demanded instant proof. Diamond's silence wasn't weakness. It was exhaustion. He was tired of repeating the same mistakes, tired of watching people destroy themselves, tired of violence being the only language anyone understood. But tired men don't survive long in his world. The more he tried to rise above the chaos, the more alone he became. Conversations stopped feeling honest. Loyalty felt forced. Trust felt thin. By the time Diamond realized his silence had become a prison of its own, the damage was done. People had already made up their minds. Plans were already in motion. And Diamond, still fighting his inner war, stood in the middle of it all, trying to stay true to himself while the world closed in. His silence didn't protect him. It exposed him. And in that quiet space, everything he worked to build began to fall apart. Diamond didn't fall because he was careless. He fell because he trusted the wrong things at the wrong time. He believed discipline could protect him. He believed patience would earn respect. And he believed loyalty still meant something in a world where survival mattered more than honor. Those beliefs slowly placed him in danger, even though he never saw himself as weak. The streets didn't defeat Diamond with force. They defeated him with timing. Every mistake Diamond made came from trying to hold things together instead of tearing them apart. He gave people chances when others would have pulled the trigger. He waited for clarity when others acted on suspicion. That hesitation created openings. People around him started moving without him. Decisions were made behind his back. Alliances shifted quietly. By the time Diamond noticed, he was already behind. In his world, being behind is fatal. Diamond underestimated how much fear drives people. Fear of losing power. Fear of being replaced. Fear of looking small. While he was focused on balance, others were focused on control. They saw Diamond's calm as a threat, not because he was violent, but because he wasn't. A man who doesn't react the way you expect makes people nervous. And nervous people strike first. What truly broke Diamond wasn't betrayal alone. It was realization. The moment he understood that his way of doing things no longer worked. That the streets had outgrown his rules. That the version of himself he fought so hard to become had no place here. That realization hit harder than any bullet. Because it meant prison hadn't prepared him for freedom. It had only delayed his punishment. Diamond tried to correct course, but it was too late. Trust was already gone. Respect had already faded. People no longer listened when he spoke. His words, once measured and calm, now sounded powerless. He had lost control of the narrative, and in the streets, once your story is told by others, your fate is sealed. There is something deeply tragic about watching a man realize his downfall while still standing. Diamond wasn't blind. He saw the danger coming. He felt the shift in energy. But he couldn't bring himself to become the man he used to be again. Violence could have saved him. Ruthlessness could have protected him. But choosing that path would have meant admitting prison changed nothing. And Diamond couldn't accept that his fall wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was slow, heavy, and inevitable. A man trying to walk straight in a crooked world. When Diamond finally lost everything, it didn't feel like justice. It felt like waste. Waste of growth. Waste of potential. Waste of a man who tried to break a cycle that refuses to be broken. Diamond's downfall wasn't just his own failure. It was a warning. In this world, trying to be better doesn't always save you. Sometimes, it makes you a target. And Diamond learned that lesson too late. Diamond didn't leave behind noise. He left behind a gap. After everything fell apart, his absence didn't feel empty. It felt heavy. The streets kept moving, deals kept happening, and power kept changing hands, but something was missing. The balance Diamond tried to create was gone, and chaos rushed in to replace it. That's how his legacy lives on. Not through fear, but through the mess that followed once he was no longer there to slow things down. People rarely talk about Diamond directly. But they feel him in every bad decision, in every rushed move, in every act driven by anger instead of thought. He was the pause in a world that never stops. Without him, everything feels louder, faster, and more reckless. His absence exposes what he was holding back all along. The violence didn't start after he was gone. It was always there. Diamond was just the one keeping it from spilling over. What makes Diamond's legacy powerful is that he didn't rule through terror. He tried to rule through structure. That kind of leadership doesn't get respect immediately. It takes time. And time is something the streets never allow. Still, even after he's gone, people are forced to deal with the consequences of ignoring his way. Every broken alliance, every unnecessary death, every moment where things spiral out of control points back to what Diamond tried to prevent. Diamond also leaves behind questions that never get answered. What if he had acted sooner? What if he had been harder? What if he had trusted less and demanded more? These questions haunt everyone who crossed paths with him. His story becomes a mirror for others, forcing them to face their own choices. Some realize they helped push him out. Others realize they mistook his calm for weakness. And some realize, too late, that they needed him more than they knew. His legacy isn't clean. It's complicated. Diamond wasn't perfect, and he never claimed to be. But he tried to change the rules without destroying himself. That attempt alone makes his story different. In a world built on survival at any cost, Diamond tried to survive with his soul intact. That's rare. And rarity often comes with a price. Even in Season 3, Diamond's shadow still lingers. His name carries weight because people remember what happened when he was ignored. His choices, his patience, and even his mistakes continue to shape the path forward. Diamond becomes a symbol of lost balance, proof that once restraint is gone, there's nothing left to stop the fall. In the end, Diamond's legacy isn't about how he lost. It's about what the world became without him. And that might be the most powerful mark he could leave behind.